All right. Hi, my name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and welcome to ACCFI Presents. Today I'm here with Muso Ato of Adolfin Group. And Adolfin Group is a company that Musa founded some time ago. I'll let Musa tell us all about it. But it's such an honor to have you here, Musa.
Thank you.
It's been such I remember getting a chance to do the international delegation to Cairo with you and like 11 other people from across our local industry. And to be on that fashion track and to be able to kind of explore manufacturing and all these other things, I became much more aware of your business, of your company. And so I'd love for you to tell us, our audience here with ACCFI Presents, a bit more about what you're doing with the Adolfin Group and kind of how you're structured, how you're set up.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for Mina. Pleasure being with you here. And yes, it was a lot of fun on that delegation to Egypt. Got to learn more about ACC as well, and happy to be here. So with Adolfin Group, it's the holding company for all of our subsidiaries. Key one being League of Rebels. Actually started as League of Rebels, and then I think through the process, because we're vertically integrated, handling manufacturing, logistics, and knowing personally more business ideas and ventures would come up, decided to found Adolfin Group and then house League of Rebels under it and other companies as we came along. So Adolfin Trading Company, for example, that does all the manufacturing, all the logistics. That's the sister company of League of Rebels. And then we've had crew shirts and also Crater Inc. and looking at other industries as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's so interesting. I feel like I've seen some of this kind of business model in other areas that, you typically think of in the polls, in New York or in, Los Angeles. But for Austin to have, its own, portfolio company like what you've built, is really exciting. So, could you tell us more? I think League of Rebels is like a really special brand that you created, and it sounds like it's been
Thank you.
kind of like your hallmark brand. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the experience is with League of Rebels and what your intentions were with that brand?
Certainly. Yes, League of Rebels is the primary company that all they spun out from. So the goal being menswear, fine tailoring, looking at it as an entrepreneur starting up. I figured if you go, the higher you go, the more room I feel there is for a small company because you mainly have big companies running those spaces. So we're able to penetrate because we're nimble, we can be fast, and get to market also. But it's about creating a wholesome experience. Back in the old days, so if you can meet your tailor on site, get measured, get alterations done. We do full bespoke, and then we also have ready to wear because you'll always have business guys on the go, and a lot of times people just want to come in, be able to make their purchase, take their stuff out, and just trying to really build a wholesome lifestyle brand. So we've gone from our primary product, which has been men's suits, expanded into accessories, dress shirts, opened up the made to measure program, I believe about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we've gone into shoes and barbering also, that will add to the space in once we resume normal life, I
Wow,
suppose.
barbering. Okay, so I have to tell you, I'm really amazed at like how you have like created. So I love that you kept using the phrase like wholesome brand, but to me it sounds like it's like building community, within
Yes.
that store and amongst people who are in business like yourself, people who are just looking for places to kind of light down quickly and get a quick shirt, but then this barbering experience. So is that something that you guys have always wanted to do, or is that like tell me a little bit more about like where did that come from and like what was the intention? Why does League of Rebels want barbering in that space?
So it's not something that was always on our minds. I think maybe about 6, 8 months ago, it's coming up. We'd seen one or two brands that have done the same, but it's still a quite rare experience for men's wear or men's shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely none in within anywhere close to our region. So we felt okay, we'll probably be able to take a stab at this.
Yeah.
Secondly, On the business side, it does help a lot because of reducing the time frame between returning customers. So they're more engaged, and retail, as we know, is now moving or has already moved into an experience game. So
Mm-hmm.
you need some sort of experience. If it's experiential, that's what people are really after. That's what at the end of the day they're paying for, whether or not they realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to give or deliver more experiences. With barbering, you have to return every 2 to 3 weeks on average. Some
Ah,
guys every 3, 4 days, and
right.
you could sit down, have a glass of whiskey, cut your hair, book your next appointment right then and there. So we already
Sure.
know when next you're coming back. And because
Okay.
you're in the space, that could be, one or two light purchases, and it
Mm-hmm.
just keeps that engagement, keeps
Mm-hmm.
that return rate, but most
Sure.
importantly, reduces the time between return.
That's genius. That's great. What I love about that is that I women's hair is a little bit different than men's barbering schedules, and so it
Yes.
takes a unique person to understand the frequency that's created by adding that experience into the store. So I get where you're coming from now. I was like, oh yeah, you get your hair highlighted. So so women's hair experience can be slightly different, than the men's hair experience. I get that now. So that's really helpful to understand a bit more in terms of what the frequency, can become, just having
Right.
that, adjacency, to the store. So that makes perfect sense. Um, so, I think that, I, one of the things that I feel like I'm seeing right now is like, this last 8 weeks has really kind of pushed us into a space in the country, the world, that has been completely unprecedented. We have been inundated with the absolute necessity to change. And if you don't change, or if you don't figure it out during this time frame,
Oh yeah.
there could be some pretty dire consequences, But I think that one of the things that as the state is reopening, really the country reopening, I think all 50 states are open now, or on the track to reopen. I'm curious in terms of your experience, just during this pandemic, during this like 8 to 10 weeks of uncertainty. What does that look like for you, and like what are you doing? What have you been doing? Kind of in that time.
Certainly. The keyword being unprecedented.
Hmm.
It's been mind-boggling to say the least. But
Hmm.
what I quickly also realized is this is not a situation that we're experiencing. Every single person is experiencing the same thing, regardless of what business, regardless of how big your company is, how small your company is, or what region you are globally.
Hmm.
So I believe, like any normal person, the first few days, I was in my panic mode. Wait, do we shut the store down? How do we close the store down?
Hmm.
What do we do? And then, it took a few days and figure out, okay, best ways, let's just stay focused, stay calm, and make the best out of the situation because
Absolutely.
everyone's undergoing the very same thing. So we
Hmm.
figured out best time to triple down on what we're doing,
Hmm.
because obviously we believe in the brand extremely well. So
Hmm.
we use the time to say our tailoring processes. We've always had an in-house tailor, but
Mm.
let's get additional industrial machines,
Hmm.
like real heavy, real good high-level equipment. So we did expand that. Key thing being, when we resume, we have to be the best menswear store slash experience,
Mm.
not just in Austin, but in Texas at the very least.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so based on the equipment, based on the machine, we have the workforce. Let's create something great. So the
Absolutely.
tailoring side, we definitely tripled down. Now we have a more robust offering that
Hmm.
we could use to make the bespoke garments from scratch with the in-house tailor.
Hmm.
We also had, just prior to the whole shutdown, the idea to add a barbering station or a barbering shop within the store.
Hmm.
But we had to do heavy construction, breaking down about 3 walls.
Wow.
Um, and that was always something where we figured, how do we do this?
Right.
Because we can't close the store, or we didn't want to close the store, or even half the store. But in this
Hmm.
case, everything shut down. So we used that time, quickly got into construction mode. It's all done, it's all ready. So once we open back, another key thing I forgot to add is when people return, once we finally get them back in, we didn't want them to come back to the same store they came to prior to the pandemic. There has to be change. There has to be improvement. Not just the regular safety measures, like that's everyone has to do that, but let them come in like they came into a new place and be like, oh wow, you guys have been doing something or working, or let it be improved. So we pretty much got through, the barbering operation, the tailoring operation, rearranged, reconfigured the entire store as well, and offerings. We didn't manufacture any major new products just because of everything going on, but we put a new line of what we call ready custom garments, and a new offering that we'll get to share with customers when they return.
That's exciting. Okay, I've got so many questions. So many questions. So first of all, thank you for your commitment to excellence. I love that, the intention is that like, no, we're going to be the best. We're coming for the best. And, and we're going from, great, better to great, or from great to excellent, and I really appreciate that, because I think that a lot of times whenever we're in survival mode, you're not thinking about how am I going to thrive? How am I going to kind of leverage this moment to do something that, we've always wanted to have a barber shop, or we've always in the last 8 months wanted to have a barber shop. And so, now we have this very unique moment where we couldn't figure out how to close the store. But now, since the store has to close, we might as well leverage that moment and do something that we absolutely couldn't have done otherwise. And so I think that's, I think that's a really great lesson for entrepreneurs. I think it's great for, small business or startups. It's like, hey, you know what? There's something unique that can happen in this space that probably couldn't have happened in the throes of operations. But now that you've kind of had this induced break, that none of us were planning to have. No one was expecting some global pandemic. I'm sorry, no one knew. But the idea that we're here and that you're able to leverage that, not in this like, I think that sometimes people think about like, oh, you're leveraging the, it is a savvy business move to think about what can we, I liked how you use the phrase triple down on, you're like, we do this well and we're going to do it even better than what we've done it before, so thank you for your commitment to excellence on that. I was curious, you're talking about some of these like, pandemic ready, products, things that people can kind of pick up. But I remember we were talking earlier and you're telling me about some like cool, purchasable things that I could find on Amazon or eBay. Can you tell us a little bit more about what those things are? Because that sounds pretty cool and useful right now. So I'd like to hear more about it.
Sure. So the great thing about the portfolio is with the shutdown, so our core business being League of Rebels, menswear, suiting, more on the high-end side, we had to be closed, right? But with the portfolio, we have this different companies that can push different products that work best in different scenarios. So while League of Rebels was taking a sleep, doing construction, doing reconfiguration, with Adolfin Trading Company, first we were dealing with the state of Texas, dealing with the human and health services, trying to get POs in for logistics, PPE equipment, because we deal with logistics, so we're trying to get some of those contracts. So we stayed busy on that on one end. But aside, a second company we always had this idea of dealing with fad products. So things that will come in, it's more about speed to market. There's multiple brands that have it, but low cost items that anyone could just see, oh, it's gimmicky almost, and just purchase it, but useful. So we put up Crater Inc. We got the website up within 1 weekend. We went into production to customize the product for ourselves. We got it here within about 10 days. And got it right up to Amazon. You can purchase on the website as well. But it's called a no-touch keychain. So when I go to, like the gas station, you go to any building, you just have it in your finger and you could put it to your, it's a keychain. You can add it to your keychain. So you could
Uh-huh.
open doors with it. You could push the keys on ATM machines, or also when you're checking out at the gas station or anywhere, you don't have to
Yeah,
touch the keypads, and
that's
it just
great.
works. It's easy, and it's like $19. But
Okay.
it keeps us active. So we'll look at or
Absolutely.
continue to research fad products as they
Mm-hmm.
start to come into the market. The goal
Mm-hmm.
being, let's get into the market really quickly and let's move some quantities.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's really, that's such a, you're right. In this phase, the last thing you want to do, I mean, there's certain things you just have to do. You have to go to the grocery store. You've got to get
Hmm.
your money. You got to get some gas in your car. The gas prices are unreal right now. So if
Right.
you're fortunate to take advantage of it, in some ways, we're all staying home. So I don't think a lot of us are benefiting from these low gas
Not too
prices.
much.
But we do eventually have to go out for essentials. And so whenever we go out, like all of our new normal, masking up, wearing gloves, all of that, if I had something like that, I think that would kind of add, it would be like my whole like going out, toolkit, like, all right, it's a bit of a utility belt of things that I'm ready for, so no, that's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
so so we've got kind of what's happening during pandemic, and how you guys are using the time and all of that. Are there I guess as you're kind of making this shift into reopening, have you guys had like any like unique challenges with kind of taking on like Governor Abbott's, the way that things are kind of opening up slowly, or like are you like, what has the process of reopening been like for you in retail?
So it's been, for us at least, pretty smooth. Weeks before the opening, we are already prepared. And once we got done with construction, new equipment, rearranging the store, what we said to ourselves every day is, let's get this place ready like we're opening today. So if the door opens, we're perfectly ready, up to dusting the place every day, turning the lights on like we're ready.
Mhm. Wow.
So yeah, so once the announcement came true for the first to open, we were all we were just doing is just waiting. We didn't have to get into action mode or try to
Mhm.
quickly start catching up or getting ready. We'd been
Mhm.
ready for a couple of weeks at least ahead. And
Wow.
so the size of the space, we're not a high traffic place.
Mhm.
We're about 2,200 square feet, and
Mhm.
between that, we'll have 3 to 4 employees on the floor.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
customers come in, so we'll still be very low count, and there's
Mhm.
enough space to roam around. But
Okay.
having masks for customers, we had our tailor stay busy making masks as well.
Oh, that's great.
So those just pretty much kept us ready to go. Having the
Mhm.
place clean, having it ready, and really there was no. We've just been waiting for the word. But the
That's
catch
wonderful.
is, yeah, the
Uh-huh.
catch is also, it's one thing to say, by the governor or anyone, we're open and we're ready to go,
Mhm.
but you're still closed if the customers haven't come out yet. So regardless of your
Mm.
door being open until
Right.
everyone's more comfortable and
Right.
more prepared, then
Mhm.
we'll have activities and
Mhm.
move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And feel I that makes so much sense though. You're right. It's like just because you turn it on doesn't mean that it's on. Like it doesn't mean that there's, more
Yeah,
traffic. I think so for our e-commerce builders out there, just because you build a web shop doesn't mean you have a web shop. There's no traction and
there's no time.
there's nothing to count.
Right.
We are not actually in business in
That's
e-commerce just yet. But yeah, no, but similar, but yeah, for storefront as well, it's like you're right. You can be open without being completely open. But as we're kind of looking at like what our new normal may look like, one of the things that I was really impressed with your company was that you have such a interesting dynamic between technology and logistics and fashion, and like you're kind of covering these different areas, which I think is really key. I mean, you were talking about how your League of Rebels is truly vertically integrated, like you own that process, from the way that I understand the way you're set up. But like, what are some of the things that you feel like are going to be a part of like your new normal in terms of how customers are getting to you and that experience?
certainly. So, firstly, on the portfolio side, I think it's always been and this has really pushed things into gear. If one process or one industry is taking a nap, let's have two, three more that are totally into gear mode. It's like, okay, everything's on shutdown, but all of a sudden you have essential businesses and they're hyperactive. So that has always been the general idea. In terms of, so looking at technology, looking at possibly or hopefully something in the pharmaceutical industry and education, then retail also, as we already in. But on the store side, so it's saying, how can we make life easy? How can we make this process easier? How can we get to our customers or make them feel confident enough to shop with us? Certain things, with the more we're using, WebEx and Zoom, same thing. We've always, and I'd say we consciously try to stay back from the made to measure process, for example, online. Because in the past, I'll think to myself, oh, it's just too much headache, perhaps. There's so much fabrics. Let's just do it in the store. It's a better experience. Yeah, that's still great. But when a pandemic hits and people have to stay home, we're like, okay, we need to take this online. So within the same time period when things have been closed, we've gone ahead to make the necessary changes. We've added the online process so you could go online, you could e-design your suit, you could get everything customized, you could pick your fabric, you could pay for it, and then we could schedule an appointment to, you could get measured at home, but we always prefer to do the measurements. So you can simply schedule an appointment to come in and get measured, or we also have a traveling tailor who would come to you at your home office, obviously wearing a mask and, go around safety measures to take your measurement, and that's it. Then we'll ship your suit to you at home or here. You can also schedule a virtual appointment now. So automatically, instead of coming in and just having your calendar for an appointment, it automatically creates a Zoom link. We come just as you and I are right now. We'll go through the whole appointment. We could help you e-design your suit by sharing a screen and just check you out right there. So you don't have to come in. Yeah. We'd love you to come in, but you don't have to if you're unable to.
Wow, that's such a dynamic experience. Like, I didn't even think about having the shared, of course we do share screen, we're doing educational, we're doing presentation, but for kind of that experience of shopping with, someone who is so well attuned to the trends and the fit and the fabrics and kind of walking through that experience is still very unique and very specialized. That's fantastic. That's wonderful.
And also really important too, because if you have a stylist virtually looking at the fabrics, some customers may not be savvy enough to say, okay, how would this look as a jacket or as a suit? But now there's someone to guide, like, perhaps let's stay away from that fabric, but this will work well because they have a better understanding. And you get to see every single aspect of that suit. So that's been one key part. But secondly, with curbside pickup, with same day, with in-store pickup and home delivery, we also got into full gear mode, and we're already beta testing a League of Rebels app. So that's something we'll launch publicly soon enough.
Wow,
but
that's great.
You could schedule, we'll market through you, we'll send push notifications, you could request curbside pickup, and let's say when you're within half a mile, or I think even smaller, I'm forgetting the number right now, we get an alert to know that you're approaching the store. So we could have your items ready, and all you have to do is pull in front, pop your trunk open, and we'll put your product in there, and you're on your way.
That's incredible. Yeah. So I just have to say, I think sometimes people imagine technology taking away some of that customer experience, but that sounds like an incredible experience to think that that without you having to call ahead, that your GPS or your app is kind of picking up your location within range so that the customer rep inside can, then support you with having that ready when you pull up. I mean, it's kind of like the experience of your dreams, really. I mean, I don't have to do anything. I'm there. We don't have to talk about, just in and out, and it's low human contact. Or really, we want to keep that curve flat, so that we can, open and continue to open across the country. But I'm just that experience in and of itself just sounds so so next level, because I know I've never experienced that, you know,
Yeah.
going to a store, but it makes so much sense, you know,
Right.
that that would be available.
And it's something we just only learned, as we said, to test the process with curbside
Hmm.
pickup, because we had
Hmm.
customers in the first few weeks arrive and then give us a ring to the store phone, say, okay, I'm outside, I'm in the blue car or the white car or, you know, whatever. But
Hmm.
in designing further, we figured, okay, how about just we get notified, we know you're coming, we're ready to go, and
Hmm.
push it from there.
That's awesome. That sounds so much less friction, less, you know, unknowingness, less, there's so many opportunities on that. So I can't wait for the app to launch. So you'll have to keep us posted.
We'll do it.
Like, yeah, like whether it's, you know, yeah, we'll have to find a way to let people know that it's out and available because it sounds like a really great experience. We're kind of rounding out toward the last little bit of time here. This 30 minutes always flies by
That's
so
quick. Yeah.
fast, super quick, right? I told you, it's like just goes like that. But you know, Ato, the last thing I wanted to just kind of I found out about this not too long ago, I think via LinkedIn, that you guys have gotten like a new contract with, you know, some, I don't want to kind of like spill the beans myself. I want you to tell us, you know, what is
Sure,
this
sure, sure.
cool new thing that's happening for the League of Rebels brand or crew that's coming up here shortly?
Yes, it's been great. Austin Bold FC, the
Hmm.
soccer club that has been playing in Austin second season, we're the official menswear partner. So we do
Wow.
all the outfitting for all the players. There's an away or travel kit as well as a home kit. So
Mhm.
when they show up to each games, when they're traveling, they'll all be outfitted in League of Rebels. So
That's
that's been great and
fantastic.
it's been fun.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. How cool. You know, I feel like everybody wants like their, you know, I mean, to have a brand be the official clothing sponsor, I mean, it's like, you know, Ralph for the Olympics, right? Like you get a chance to be League
Right.
of Rebels for the football club here
Yeah.
in
The
Austin,
start,
which is
small step.
so cool. Yeah, hey, you know what? Just it's every day, man. Every day. It's just
Yeah.
like you never know. You just, you
Yeah.
know, you get the first one and then before you know it, it'll just, you know, every football club across, you know, will be saying, where are you getting these clothes from?
Yeah.
So
Amen
this
to
is,
that.
yeah, so this is great. We're rounding out our time here. Musa Ato of Adolfin Group, thank you so much for your
You.
time. It's been a true pleasure.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Again, guys, this has been ACCFI Presents. My name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator. We do this every Friday. We get a chance to talk to local industry professionals, industry vets who are making this time work. And so this is really an opportunity for us to encourage and inspire, you know, get your ideas going about what's possible. Ato has been in business for some time now, so this is really kind of what happens whenever you've been, you know, a bit more seasoned, you know, and so the floor space and the ability to kind of change and pivot, but let it inspire you, let it have you think of what's possible. So again, Ato, thank you for your time.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
Same here.
We will definitely have to circle back whenever that app becomes available because that sounds
Yes, please.
really, really amazing.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about the customer journey and how the barbering and the app has changed kind of in this new normal post-pandemic. So hopefully we'll be there soon.
Sounds good.
Excellent. So guys, thanks so much. You can catch us on all of our social media handles at ACC Fashion Incubator. You can also subscribe to our YouTube live channel here. We do Monday Coffee Talk, which is really just an Ask Me Anything consulting time, as well as kind of presenting on the latest McKinsey reports. On Wednesday, we do Workshop Wednesdays where you can catch us to talk about technical design and understanding how to talk to the factories more effectively. And then on Friday, we're back here for ACCFI Presents for our next guest. This is Memorial Day weekend, guys,
Oh
and
yeah.
I almost forgot. So we will not be here for Coffee Talk on Monday. I think everyone's going to be leisuring, hopefully, doing something, but we will be back on Wednesday for Workshop Wednesday. So thanks so much again for joining us. And Ato, it's been a pleasure. So good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
You
And
too.
we'll talk soon. All right. All right,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Have a good one. Happy
Oh
Friday.
yeah.